Have you ever stopped to think about how a crazy new idea goes from a tiny lab somewhere to, well, your dinner plate? Today, we're going to do just that. We're going to break down the career of one scientist, Dr. Na Xu, to see how years, decades really, of hard work and discovery are literally shaping the future of food. So it all really boils down to this single question. Because, big innovations don't just happen in some single eureka moment. Nope. They are built piece by tiny piece over an entire career. And we're going to follow Dr. Nate Xu's journey to see exactly how it's done. All right, so where does a story like this even begin? Well, every huge scientific leap forward is built on this rock-solid foundation of super rigorous training and just relentless dedication. So let's start right there, at the beginning. And no, that's not a typo. For Dr. Xu, that first step, it wasn't a step at all. It was a 10-year combined undergraduate and PhD program. I mean, just think about that. That's the kind of commitment it takes just to get to the starting line, just to begin asking the right questions in food science. And that decade, that was just the warm-up. Her path to becoming a true expert was global. It started at Jilin University in China, then took her all the way to the United States as a visiting scholar, and then eventually to the Netherlands for postdoctoral research. And each move wasn't just a change of scenery, it was a new layer of knowledge, a totally new perspective. So you've got this incredible globe-spanning foundation. What problem do you decide to solve? This is where her research gets really, really cool. It's all about finding answers where you'd least expect them. And this is a huge one. We all know chemotherapy can be a powerful weapon against cancer, but man, it can be incredibly tough on the body. Dr. Xu decided to focus on a really dangerous side effect from a common chemo drug called doxorubicin. The official term for this is cardiotoxicity, but put simply, it means the very medicine that's supposed to be saving your life could also be damaging your heart. So the big question became, could the answer to this problem actually be hiding out there in nature? And her big breakthrough, which she published back in 2022, is just brilliant. Let's break this quote down real quick. A polysaccharide is basically just a type of complex carb. And morchella, that's just the fancy scientific name for the morel mushroom. So what she found was that a natural compound in mushrooms could actually protect heart cells from this awful side effect. Amazing, right? This is how real science works, laid out in a few clear steps. First, she had to pull out that specific compound from the mushroom. Then she investigated what it does and discovered it acts like a tiny shield for heart cells. It reduces stress and stops them from dying off. The takeaway here is just profound. She proved that a little piece of a mushroom could potentially solve a massive problem in cancer treatment. But here's the thing about being a top-tier scientist. It's not just about what you discover. It's about shaping the entire conversation in your field and building the kind of influence that guides what happens next. Yeah, once you hit a certain level of expertise, you're not just a player in the game anymore. You become one of the referees. You're the one trusted to look at other people's work, to be a gatekeeper for quality, and to make sure the science being published is top-notch. And the scale of her influence is just staggering. Dr. Xu is on the editorial boards of 6 different scientific journals, and she's been a peer reviewer for over 20 of them. That means her expert opinion is constantly being sought out to validate new research. In a very real way, she helps decide what the future of science looks like. Another way to measure trust in the scientific community is funding. Getting a research grant isn't just about getting money. It means you've successfully convinced a major institution that your vision is solid, that it's worth betting on. And this table right here is just a perfect testament to the sheer breadth of her expertise. I mean, look at this. She's earned trust and money for a huge range of projects. On one hand, you have fundamental health research on chemo side effects in the Netherlands, and on the other, she's secured funding for applied food tech, like figuring out how to make better puffed corn crisps in China. It's incredible. Okay, so this brings us to the final act of the story. This is where all those different threads, the intense training, the specific discoveries, and her reputation as an expert, all come together to tackle a truly global challenge. So, for a lot of scientists, their career plays out in one of these two worlds. Academia, that's all about discovery for its own sake, pushing the boundaries of what we know. Industry, on the other hand, is about taking that knowledge and building something real with it. And often, the most exciting stuff happens when someone makes the jump from one to the other. And that is exactly the pivot Dr. Xu is about to make. Starting in 2025, she's taking that whole body of knowledge she's built and is applying it directly in the private sector. This is where the rubber meets the road. She's joining a company called Infinite Roots. They're a German food tech company making meat alternatives from mycelium, which is basically the root network of fungi. And this is where it all comes full circle, right? Her deep foundational expertise on fungi, on mushrooms, it makes her the absolute perfect person for this job. And she's not just joining the team as a member, she's helping lead it as the chief analytical scientist. This is the culmination of that entire journey we just talked about, from that decade-long PhD all the way to a leadership role where she can directly shape the food we'll be eating tomorrow. So this is what it takes. The journey of one scientist, driven by pure curiosity and a whole lot of dedication, can have a truly massive impact on all of us. And it leaves us with one last, pretty exciting question to chew on. With brilliant minds like Dr. Zhu leading the charge, what do you think we'll all have on our plates in 2050?